Hey everybody, it's Jessica, Pretty Prints and Paper. It's that time of the month where we're thinking about setting up for the next. And so, if you're new to this series, every month I walk through my setup process for the next month in my bullet journal. I start off with a little bit of a review over the last month and identify areas that really worked or really didn't, and then that reflects in the new setup of the next month. If you follow me for a while, you know that I use the Foxy notebook from thefoxyfix.com. It is a traveler's notebook system, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, I wanted to use a couple notebooks in this leather cover, which is leather with a couple loops of elastic right here, and then you just slip notebooks inside of it to keep it all in place. I use this because I wanted to separate my planning spreads from my collections and have a semblance of order, but all in one place. So that's what I use. It's a wide size, so about the same size as the Moleskine Cahier, I think is how you pronounce that, and May Designs inserts, which is an 8x5, which has been working really well for me. Last month, one of the biggest improvements that I made was including this insert for rapid logging and brain dumping, and whenever I have a flurry of thoughts, which in this time of the year has been extremely busy. So I use this notebook just to have this is like my shitty first draft. I'm going to just scribble all the things that are on my brain. My brain goes rapid fire, and so one thought usually leads to a web of other thoughts, so I have a place to capture that in an imperfect way, and then from there I organize it into legible thoughts, processes, ideas, and steps in my bullet journal. To flip through May, I'll show you what I used and how that actually played out. I know that a lot of us will show you our beginning spreads or setup for the week, and sometimes don't go back to show you how it went. So this spread actually worked out really well for me. Last year I all but gave up on monthly grids, and this month I went back to it to keep track of a bunch of Instagram challenges that I was doing and some blog posts that I was planning. So those are in pencil so that I can kind of be more fluid with my blog planning. But this was one of the most reference pages in my bullet journal this month, so I am shockingly going to keep it. Same thing with my rapid log. I wanted to get away from a super structured monthly to just something where I can be like, oh, yep, I remember that, more true to the original Ryder Carroll's bullet journal system. So I just gave myself a couple categories and then went from there. So I actually use this, so I'm going to keep that as well. And there's my monthly or my weeklies with my 5 days a week, which has been awesome. I have this row as gratitude or moments from my day, and then this as my expenses for my day. Doing a monthly separate tracker was really hard for me to keep up. I always forgot about it, and so having it in my face every day ensured that I was going to do it more often than not. Weekends, hit or miss. Sometimes I have a lot to do, and sometimes I already know what I'm going to do, so I don't really need to have extensively detailed weekends. Messed that up, and you know what? I just flipped the page and did it again. This was an experiment based on a layout that I saw from Todd at Bujo Pros, and wanted to give it a try. It didn't quite work for me to have, this kind of running thing, so I had a hard time keeping track of what was what. So with the time ladder, I liked the idea of it, but then tasks would kind of get lost, and it seemed like these tasks would go with this day, and so onward and upward, right? So I tried this version. I know that Kim, A Tiny Ray of Sunshine, has this 7-day-a-week version on her weeklies layout blog post, so you can check that out for more ideas. But I kind of wanted to go back to this and see if this would work for me to have events on one side and then most important task for that day on this side. And I mean, it was okay, but going back to my tried and true. This is my Boston planning spread, and I talked a little bit about this on my Instagram, but I went on a 5-day trip to Boston, and I wanted, unlike my regular days, I'm not a very super planned person when it comes to traveling. I like being able to wander. I like being able to explore and experience a place. And I frankly was so caught up in the end of the semester that I had zero time to put into planning out my time in Boston. So what I did was create a spread for all of the days I was going to be there and leave enough room where I can jot down some quick notes about where I was planning on going. On this right hand side, I just started jotting down all of the suggestions that I was getting from my friends, and then I drew this little map of the different neighborhoods that were in Boston, so I can kind of get the lay of the land and correspond the suggestions to the neighborhood. And this helped us pull together strategically what we would be doing that day, so we didn't have to backtrack. We could do a couple more things at once, and this worked because we had access to Google, right? So because we had data in our phones, this worked out really well for us. On the plane, we sat down and organized some thoughts around where we wanted to go, and then I would pencil it into this spread to be like, oh, okay, so based on the weather, I put the weather down. Based on this weather, our best day to be outside will be this day. Museum days should be this day. And then when we actually did it, I would draw in pen what we ended up doing along with the different expenses that we had throughout the vacation time. And what happened was then, we'd wander, see something, detour, come back. There were very few things that we had scheduled and bought tickets for that held us to any kind of timeline. So for an international trip, I would do something different. I would be a little more planful, have a lot more pages worth of maps and addresses and things like that because we won't have our phones. So for one of my international trips, I'll do it that way. But I love the flexibility of this. There's some organization, but a lot of free flowing and doing what you feel like in the moment. So I loved that. This was last week. I made it a 4-day week because I came back on a Tuesday and only had a couple days of work before I was at my sister-in-law's wedding, which was so nice. Tired and I'm exhausted, but it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. So my week was 4 days, and I went back to my trusty weekly spread, and I'm really happy with it. I'm doing this as a way to keep track of all the different projects I'm working on and making sure that I keep them all in mind throughout the week. This is another idea that I saw from Todd at Bujo Pros, and I'm really liking the notion of having this list to kind of remind me what I should be keeping momentum on, checking in on. I might do a tip in with washi and do a little slip of paper that folds out because these are going to be the projects that I'm working on the rest of the summer. So instead of writing it in every single time, I might just have a little flag that sticks out. So, I'm exhausted. I don't know if I'm actually going to do anything this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But now that it's the weekend before June, I'm going to think about what worked for me and change up my setup accordingly for the next month. So as you saw, I really actually liked the monthly setup that I had, which is a huge deal. I have been struggling to find a monthly that works for me. So here's what I have so far. And overall, this took me probably 30 minutes to do because honestly, a lot of the time is reflection. A lot of the time is thinking, what do I need this to do and how do I structure it to do that? This is not as much about writing as much as it is about thinking. I'm going back to that monthly grid for June. I have not filled in the challenges that I'm doing. I haven't had time, but I will fill in the Plan With Me challenge, Rock Your Handwriting, Brush Letter Practice challenge with Random Olive, and I'm continuing to do the Badass Women challenge from Inky Hand, which is just a fun feminist lettering challenge that I love to do. I letter a little bit. That's my side hobby. That's what I do. You do not have to do that. Free yourself from that expectation. You get to do whatever you want in your monthly. I'm keeping the rapid log, but you might have noticed I didn't really do much here for work, so I'm gonna forgo that category altogether. I am getting in the mail those bullet journal foundation stamps from Kelly at Foxy Fix, and I really want to do the a mission board for different goals on this page. So we'll see what happens when that comes in. I'm really excited to try that out. And then I'm back at this weekly. You guys, I keep experimenting to see, like, am I sure that I really love this? And then I always come back to it. So I'm going to do this again. I added dots to the top to separate out my top 3 for the day. So I'm going to hopefully go prioritize a couple things, especially as times get kind of busy coming up here. And then my weekend, it used to be Saturday, Sunday, but I was really losing steam on my gratitude log and my expense tracking because I didn't have the boxes for it. So I'm trying it this way, vertically, and then doing the same thing. Top 3, gratitude, expenses. And then this is a free page for whatever I want it to be. Whether it's just intentional white space or adding a couple lists because I'm traveling a ton this summer, doing a lot of conferencing and hosting conferences and doing trainings and yada yada. So there will be opportunities to use this page. My shop is opening up soon. I'm really excited about that, you guys. I can't even tell you. There's so many fun things that are going to be there. So if you're following me for lettering or things like that, or fun things to add to your desk or give to people or cards or what have you, that's at Pretty Prince Shop on Instagram, and we'll be starting a countdown here in the next week or two to launch that. So that is what is upcoming for me. I am so looking forward to seeing how you all set up your June. Leave a comment below as to what you're trying out or questions that you have, but I would love to hear from you. So if you liked this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or most of all, just enjoy. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.